Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Dad Lore podcast. Where we have another one coming out to you with Sanaz, Ali, and myself, Jimmy. And I'm gonna be starting us off once again talking about my dad and his friends when they all had dirt bikes and would go dirt biking up on basically the pedal bike trails, but they just bring their dirt bikes and run their dirt bikes on it. So one day, they would basically go every single weekend on their dirt bikes and just go mess around on all the trails. But one time when they were messing around, they're going through this like really tight and narrow trail, and they basically like ride all next to each other. So it's basically a line, and basically his friend who was in the front, accidentally like hit like a rock or like a stump or something, and basically launched him like off the bike, and he basically got impaled by a stick through his like left side of his body. So it wasn't like through the middle of him; it was just through the side. And basically, since he crashed right in front of my dad and his other friend, they both also wiped out and just like basically just ate shit on the ground. And so they're basically in the middle of this random like bike trail, and their bikes are like not destroyed, but like kind of wrecked a little bit. They're both on the ground, and their friend's like impaled on a stick in the middle of the forest. So what they decide to do, instead of waiting to call help, they decide to break off the stick that's connected to like the ground.
Oh no.
Oh Lord.
Off of him so they could move him, and they basically picked up their bikes and just wheeled the bikes out of the trail onto the road until they got to the side of the road, and then flagged down someone who was driving by to call 911, because back then they didn't have phones, so they couldn't really call anyone. So they had to wait to flag someone down on a random street. So this random person stopped and was like mortified to seeing these three kids with dirt bikes, and one of their kids is impaled with a stick through his body. So she luckily stopped, and then they called the ambulance, and the ambulance came and got him, and everything was okay after that.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wow. Okay, I'll go next. So my story is about my dad. And my dad, so my dad's parents were separated, and my dad's mom had full custody of him. And one day my dad's dad decided that they were going to go to Albania. My dad's dad and my dad. So he tells my dad that they're going to Albania. Doesn't say much more. And they get on the plane and they go to Albania. And when they get there, my dad starts to realize that something is sort of wrong, because his mom was calling him, or his mom was calling him, and his mom was calling his dad, and he could hear that she was mad. And then he found out that his dad hadn't told his mom that he had brought him to Albania. And since his mom had full custody, he was pretty much kidnapped and taken to Albania. And then they were there for a couple weeks, because my dad's dad had a place there, and I guess everything was okay. My dad's mom was pretty mad at my dad's dad, but yeah, at least he wasn't kidnapped and taken somewhere else.
Yeah.
At least he got a vacation.
Nice. Yeah. Alright, so I'll go next. So, this is a story from my dad. My dad used to stay in his office. He has like an office job, and he came home late one day, like really late, about like 2 a.m. It was like a winter night, and my mom, who like usually is like a super light sleeper, like tucked herself in her blanket and fell asleep. So she was in a really deep sleep that night. But the problem was, when my dad came to his house, there was no key. He had no key to the door. So he came home, he rang the doorbell. My mom did not open the door. He rang the doorbell a few more times. My mom still didn't open the door.
I think we've all been there.
He started pounding on the front door while ringing the doorbell, and my mom still did not open the door. So we started ringing the doorbell, pounding the door, and calling out my mom's name aloud, and nothing. My mom was asleep, dead asleep. So now the neighbors had started hearing the noise and thought that someone was breaking into our house. But they decided to do nothing. So,
Great neighbors.
Amazing.
So our building at the time was under construction, and there was there's like a lot of wood and everything around. So my dad picked up a wooden pole and walked back to the second floor of our apartment. So he jabbed the pole into the door a bunch of times, making a lot of noise, but still nothing. My mom didn't move. So he's like in disbelief at this time, and he's like, I don't even know what to do. And then
what do you do?
Finally, he came up with an idea. So he walked back to the ground floor, and he called a watchman and asked him to stand guard and be witness about what was about to happen next. So my dad climbed up the wooden frame of the outside building while the watchman was like at the bottom looking at him, just making sure he doesn't die falling down. He went right up to the second floor, peered through the bedroom window of my mom, and yelled my mom's name, Betty. Betty, open the front door.
Oh, God.
So that jolted my mom out
Finally.
of her sleep, and she woke up unable to comprehend why or how my dad was outside the window. She dashed to the front door, like shaking, and the watchman held my dad down and everything. And so my mom and dad, like, when she opened the door, they were just, like, laughing about it, and they were hysterical. But yeah.
Wow.
Damn. She must have been in a coma state right there in that sleep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It must have been a good slumber. All right. Well, I think that's all the stories. That's all we have for you today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the Dad Lore podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys next time.